Why do tiny nations at the edge of Europe generate more electricity per person than almost anywhere else on Earth? We're talking about countries where clean power isn't just an ambition. It's already reality. From volcanic heat under Iceland to Norway's mighty rivers, the Nordics are quietly shaping the future of energy. And the reason why might just hold the key for the rest of the world.
Don't forget to click on that subscribe button and like this video, as it's the best way to support this channel.
When we talk about energy, we usually think about totals, how much electricity a country produces. But another way to measure it is by looking at electricity generated per person. Take the European Union as a whole. On average, each person accounts for around 6,000 kilowatt hours per year. But in Norway and Finland, that number doubles. And in Iceland, it skyrockets to more than 50,000 kilowatt hours per person, nearly 10 times the EU average. Why so high? It isn't just about people leaving the lights on. It's about geography, industry, and how these nations chose to power their economies. Let's start with Iceland, a country with no fossil fuel resources, but endless volcanic heat and powerful rivers. Today, 100% of Iceland's electricity comes from renewable sources, mostly hydropower and geothermal. That energy doesn't just light homes, it powers massive aluminum smelters, industries so energy-hungry they'd be impossible to run on coal or gas. Then there's Norway. Over 95% of its electricity is hydropower, drawn from mountain rivers and waterfalls. Norway also leads the world in electric car adoption, meaning its clean electricity directly powers transport. Sweden and Finland built a different mix. Hydropower and nuclear form the backbone, but wind power has surged, especially in Sweden, where it now supplies nearly a tenth of the nation's electricity. Both countries also use electricity-intensive industries like pulp, paper, and steel, again pushing up per capita numbers. And finally, Denmark, once dependent on imported fossil fuels, now famous as a pioneer of wind power. Per person, Danes generate far more electricity than most Europeans, and their expertise in offshore wind has become a global export. Together, these nations prove that when geography, technology, and political will align, the result is an energy system unlike anywhere else in the world. One big reason the Nordics rank so high in electricity per person is industry. Heavy industries like aluminum, steel, and paper don't just use energy, they devour it. In Iceland, aluminum smelting alone consumes more than 70% of all electricity produced. In Sweden, the push for green steel, made with clean electricity and hydrogen, is transforming the iron and steel industry. And in Finland, vast forests are turned into pulp and paper, another energy-intensive process. So, while the numbers might look extreme, it's not about people wasting power at home. It's about using abundant, renewable electricity to fuel industries that in most countries would still run on coal or gas. The other driver is lifestyle. Nordic countries are ahead of the curve in electrification. Take Norway. More than 80% of new cars sold are fully electric, thanks to government incentives and cheap renewable power. Homes across Sweden and Finland rely on electricity-powered heating, especially heat pumps, that keep families warm through long winters. And Denmark? Their offshore wind is helping to electrify everything from transport to district heating. In the Nordics, electricity isn't just powering light bulbs, it's becoming the backbone of everyday life. So, what can the rest of the world learn from the Nordics? First, geography matters. Rivers, wind, and geothermal gave them a head start. But just as important are long-term policies. For decades, Nordic governments invested in renewables, built transmission networks, and supported industries that could thrive on clean electricity. The result is a model where electricity is cheap, abundant, and green, even in some of the harshest climates on Earth. And while not every country has the same natural advantages, the Nordic story proves that clean energy isn't just possible, it's scalable. Of course, it's not all smooth sailing. Nordic grids face challenges of their own. Winter storms can strain transmission lines, hydropower is vulnerable to droughts, and as demand for electricity keeps rising from EVs, data centers, and industries, even the Nordics must balance supply and demand carefully. The question is, can they keep growing cleanly while meeting the world's hunger for Nordic-produced aluminum, steel, and data? The ripple effects are global. Nordic electricity powers exports that end up everywhere, from aluminum in your soda can, to the steel in your car, to the clean data flowing through your phone. And their leadership in electrification sets a benchmark. When Norway hits 80% EV adoption, the world takes notice. When Sweden pioneers fossil-free steel, industries from Japan to the US start paying attention. So why do the Nordics use the most electricity per person in Europe? Because they can. Because nature blessed them with rivers, wind, and heat from the earth itself. And because, decades ago, they chose to invest in clean power long before the rest of the world caught on. The result isn't just high electricity use. It's a vision of what a clean, electrified future could look like. If the Nordic countries can do it in icy winters, fjords, and forests, then maybe, just maybe, the rest of the world can too. This is more than electricity. It's power for people, for industry, for the planet.